Morning, Glory.
Morning.
Good to see all you beautiful people here today. Speaking of beautiful, my wife is here today. I outkicked my coverage, and so I'm excited this honor's here. And Evan, our handsome youngest, is here, so it's always fun to have them around, so I'm rejoicing in that today too. Also, I want to say, as we get started here together, that if you had said you want to be part of this Tangible Kingdom study, I've got your book. Now, if you kind of decided today you want to be part of it, I can get more books. So it's not a Bible study per se. It's really a study about the church today in North America, some of the challenges, some of the ways that we can help to make mature disciples of Jesus Christ, and really what it's like to try to follow Jesus in these days and to help other people to do that too. So it's really an interesting book, and we're going to discuss it. And I'm kind of in the process of figuring out when we'll do that. Do I have one group? Do I have more than one? This is all going to start after the first of the year. But if you indicated to me that you'd like to be a part of this, find me up here after worship, and I will give you your book. And if I run out, how cool was that? I'll give more. So if you want to be a part of it, let me know. We'll make sure that happens. I also want to say thanks as we begin this time together. Have you looked at the set and everything up here? How cool is it? We've got all these words that begin with F. Now, we talked in our staff about, how might we promote this? And when we realized that all the words begin with F, we thought about that, and then we thought, that's kind of a dangerous phrasing. We're going to talk about F words. So we decided not to go with that. But these are signs of salvation, and so as we journey together, as Paul mentioned, this is the first Sunday of Advent, and so as we do that, our word for today is flood. And maybe you heard that word spoken as Lee was reading the scripture. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. I'm excied, though, that Sandra and Evan are here today, because I want to begin our time talking about a little dog that we had named Sparky. Now, Sparky was a used dog. But I realized that doesn't sound very good, so then I got to think, well, it doesn't sound good to call him a used dog. Maybe pre-owned dog would be better. So we had a pre-owned dog named Sparky, a little dachshund that we got from the Humane Society. Never forget the day when we went to find Sparky. We walked in the door, and we're looking and thinking about dogs, and in this holding cell was Sparky. So we're like, little dachshund, we're like, well, that might work. He's kind of the right size and everything. Got a little age on him, you can tell. But we'd like to take him for a little test run. So they actually got Sparky out, and they took him into this caged-in area. And right away, I think we were impressed with Sparky, because he wasn't a very big dog, but there was this big black dog. I don't know if it was a lab or what, but Sparky, he's holding his own, interacting with this big dog. And we're thinking, okay, this dog's got potential. Actually, I think one of the reasons he was in the holding cell was because he had been returned by someone who had taken Sparky for a test drive. Sparky apparently had very severe allergies. So he would sneeze all the time, and these were colossal sneezes. He'd put up his little head in the air, and he'd go, shoo! And when he would sneeze, he inevitably hit his nose on the floor. Consequently, his nose was all beat up. He ran on 3 legs. But he was an awesome dog. He was reasonably housebroken, like most of us. And so he fit into our family just well. I remember one day I took him for a walk down the road, and he's trotting along. And one of the things about Sparky was, and I don't know if other dogs do this or not, he gave you no warning when he was getting tired. So one day I'm walking with Spark down the road, and all of a sudden he decided he was done walking. And he just went and laid down on the side of the road. I thought, wow, okay, you're done. Fortunately, unlike our son Eli and Catherine's dog, who weighs 80 pounds, I could just pick Sparky up and take him the rest of the way. But one day when I was walking with Sparky, I'll never forget, there was this gentleman who lived in our area at the time, and he drove really slow on the road. Really slow. Like the speed limit was 55, and it was out in the country, so basically people just drove as fast as they wanted to drive. But this gentleman was driving, telling the truth, about 25 miles an hour. You could see him coming on the horizon. And then about 5 minutes later, you'd look again, and he was still coming on the horizon. And eventually he'd get there, Well, I was walking with Sparky one day, and we're trotting along, and he was coming up behind us, this gentleman, and finally he got to us. He rolls down his window, and he looks at me, and he says, and we're all still moving. He's like, and I'm walking with him driving, and he says, "That's a fine-looking hunting dog you got there." I remember looking around like, who's he talking about? I said, "Oh, he's talking about Sparky." So I think Sparky kind of puffed up his chest a little bit after that. He's walking along, "I'm a hunting dog." Well, the reason I mention all of this is because I saw Sparky's last hunt. Never forget it. Walked out the front door, and Sparky's standing on the little porch we had. And all of a sudden, there's a squirrel in the yard. And after what seemed like an eternity, I saw the squirrel. Sparky finally catches the squirrel in his eye. And I think there was a little thing went off in his little brain, like, I'm supposed to chase that thing. So, a little bit of a delay, Sparky flies off the porch, starts chasing, squirrel's gone, up the tree, no more. That was Sparky's last hunt. Not that he passed on at that point, but something I think on that day kind of clicked in Sparky. Like, you know what? I ain't going to do that anymore. I'm tired. I just want to chill, retire, live the life with his family. And so it became a time when there would be a squirrel or some other critter or varmint out there. Sparky would be just kind of like, kind of like the dog way of nodding, acknowledging his former foe. Just like, yeah, how's it going? And then in time, Sparky didn't even do that. He just slept through. I thought about that in terms of what Lee read for us today, believe it or not. Jesus tells us, and our faith informs us, that he's going to come back someday. And he invites us to be awake and ready for when that day comes. And sometimes I wonder if we even believe what he says, that he's going to come back. And sometimes I wonder if we even think it makes any difference in the world if Jesus comes back someday. What does it really matter? I think about the things in my life that I get excited for and I look forward to. And there are a lot of things, and maybe you can think of some of them in your life, milestones that you've already met. Thinking back, like before you could drive, like, man, I can't wait till I get my license. And then think about, man, I can't wait till I get to be 21. And then I can't believe, and then after that, it seems to change a little bit. But there are certain milestones that we look forward to in life, and it seems like it's going to take forever to get there, but we finally do, and we're excited for it. But then it's past, and it's on to something else. Oftentimes we mark our time by looking forward to something and not thinking about what is right now. And I wonder, do we even think about Jesus coming back? And so I invite you to consider, what if Jesus came back today to your home? Like before the sun sets today, what if Jesus came back? What if Jesus came back before you head off to work Monday? What if Jesus came back before we're done here this morning? What would that be like? What would you do? How would you feel? How would you react? Because he says he's going to come, he's going to do it. And I think we've heard the story, many of us in the church, for so long that we're kind of inoculated to it. We're kind of a little bit like Sparky, who's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm going to sleep through this. I'm done watching. I'm done waiting. I'm not really sure I believe it's going to happen. And we just kind of let it pass on. Today, as we mentioned, is the first Sunday in Advent. This is how we as followers of Jesus, many of us, mark time. We remember that Jesus came in the fullness of time, as we talked about. Jesus assumed our flesh, God in the flesh, and came into the midst of this life, into our world, into our life, and lived it and died and was raised and lives on. As we talked about last Sunday, he is our king. He is our ruler. He is the one to whom we owe first allegiance. Among all the allegiances we have in life, he is the king. His reign is here now, and that's a struggle, and we see things that aren't quite the way they should be, and it's that heaven and the earthly fallen things clashing and mixing it up, and we cling to Jesus because he is our hope. He has come in time. He tells us he's going to come again. One of the things I think we miss, though, is that he's coming every moment of every day, right now. by the Holy Spirit of God coming into your heart, into your mind, every moment of every day. And so during Advent, we remember that He has come. We recall and sense that He's coming every moment of every day, but we also look forward to the time when He comes back. And as we listen to the Scripture these last few Sundays, we hear about all kinds of amazing things that are going to happen. Cataclysmic things, earthquakes, and wars, and rumors of war, and contention, and people being killed for the faith, and all of that. And I think, you know what, we know what that's like because we're living it right now. You see, in this chapter from which Lee read in Matthew, Jesus is talking about the future. We hear about all these amazing events that are going to take place. And some scholars say that some of these things have happened. In fact, many of them say, well, you know, everything that Jesus predicted would happen has happened. Even right now, we're in the midst of the earthquakes and the wars and the rumors of war. We experience that. We know what that is. It's happening right now. And some have posited that there's one thing, only one thing that Jesus said would be, that has yet to happen. And that is that He's going to come back. So my question for you today is, are you ready for Him to come back today? Does it even matter to you? Over the long journey of the Christian faith, a lot of people have tried to find ways to calculate when Jesus would come back. People have written books on it, written, I'm sure, doctoral dissertations on it, tried to figure it all out, put out the calculators and figured it, it's going to be this day or that day or that day. That day comes and He's not back and we just wonder about it. We all try to figure out, and I thought to myself, oh, why do we do that? In fact, we talked about it in our Wednesday morning Bible study. Why do we want to know when He's coming back? Why do we try to figure it out? And I thought, well, I think, to be honest with you, sometimes we want to figure it out because we want to know how much time we get. It's like, if I know that I'm going to have company in my house on Tuesday, then I really can wait till Monday evening to get the house ready, right? I mean, I can do whatever I want up until Monday. I can make the place a mess and do whatever I want. I don't have to worry about it because I know I got company coming Tuesday. But by Tuesday, I know I got to get it ready. Sometimes I wonder if we don't approach our faith like that. And that's one of the reasons we want to know when He's coming. So we got to know how much time we got to do what we want to do before we got to clean it up and start being the way He wants us to be. I think sometimes people try to figure out when Jesus is coming back and do all those mathematical calculations because they hear about all these things are going to happen and they're frankly afraid. We're afraid of what that's going to be like. We wonder if we'll survive all of these seeming horrific things that happen, all these phenomena that go on that just blow our mind. We wonder what that's going to be like, but we want to be ready for it, and we maybe want to avoid it if we can. I think sometimes we calculate when that's going to be because we just want to have some sense of control over our lives. But Jesus says, only the Father knows when I'm coming back. But I'm going to come back. And as you read that passage, it's almost as if Jesus is saying, in the midst of all of these cataclysmic things, life is going to appear pretty normal. The new normal, a phrase that we often use these days, is that life is hard and there are difficult things that happen and there are hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes and wars and we're aware of that. Jesus, it's like He's saying that, this is the new normal. There are going to be two people just doing their thing and all of a sudden He's going to come back. There's going to be two women over here doing their thing, and all of a sudden He's going to come back. It's going to be like that flood that came when Noah was with his family, and they built the ark because they knew that something was going to happen, and all of a sudden everybody who was doing their thing suddenly wiped out because this one-time event, a flood to cover the earth occurred. It's almost as if Jesus is saying, and I think He is saying, that life is going to appear pretty normal when all of a sudden I'm going to be there. Are you going to be ready? I think it matters when Jesus comes back because what I get from the Scripture is that when Jesus comes again, that's it. It's going to be the end of time. It's going to be the end of history. It's going to be the end of the world as we know it. Which reminded me of a song by R.E.M. years ago. This is the end of the world as we know it. And then in parentheses in the title of the song. Anybody remember that song? Mm-hmm. I feel fine. So, doing my beautiful research, I pulled up the lyrics to that song. I gotta tell you, I don't understand any of it except that one phrase, it is the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. So that wasn't any help. But I think that we are looking forward to Jesus coming in the midst of everyday life. Will you be ready? When I think about the disciples who asked him the question about when are all these things going to happen, amidst all the questions that they could have asked, and amidst all the answers that they could have wanted, I think there was one question that they were really at the root of it all asking. That is the question that you and I ask at the root of it all, and that is, Jesus, will you save us? Are you going to save us? Are we going to survive this? Are we going to survive life? Are we going to survive the brokenness? Are we going to survive the end of time as we know it? Are we going to survive the struggle and the pain and the hurt and the betrayal? Are we going to survive? Jesus, are you going to save us? And Jesus says, wake up and pay attention, because I am. On Thanksgiving, I watched a little bit of football. And I don't know if you saw the Cowboys play. I'm not really a Cowboys fan, but I am a fan of the running back, Ezekiel Elliott, of the victorious Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, I know we do have some Michigan fans here who are not real happy about how that works out, but remember, we love each other in Christ, okay? We're all good. We're all good. And I hope Coach Harbaugh is feeling some peace today, too. He was not very happy guy. But I was saying about how Ezekiel Elliott, ran the ball for the Buckeyes and how cool that was. And then on Thanksgiving, he ran the ball. And before the game started, maybe you saw him if you saw the game on the sidelines. He's there standing, he's got smelling salts, and he's going, trying, I guess, to get his mind wakened up to get ready for the game. And so I suggested to Ellen and Sandra, I said, maybe I ought to do that before I preach. I get some smelling salts, So if you see me do that someday, that's what's happening. I don't know if it would work, but we're willing to try anything almost to help this be a good time that we can hear the Lord. I believe that what God's trying to do through this message of Jesus is kind of sending his holy smelling salts by the Spirit of God and saying, wake up. Breathe in my spirit and wake up from your slumber. Wake up from not seeing the squirrel anymore. Wake up from not caring about what's going on. Wake up from being oblivious to my movements in your midst. You see, there are three comings we're celebrating. The fact that he came, the fact that he's coming again, and the fact that he's coming at every moment of every day. And I believe Jesus is saying, get ready, wake up, and every moment of every day, pay attention to my coming into your life, my presence in your heart and in your mind, my coming to wake you up and make you ready for my return. How do we get ready for his return? We get ready for his return by building a relationship with him, by living a life of prayer, by being in his word and listening for his voice, by trying to conform our lives to the life of Jesus. Just look at how he lived. Look at the things he did. Can you and I live that way? I believe that we can. I believe he makes a way for us to be faithful. And that is how we wake up and are ready for his return, whenever it is. Paul, is it safe for me to jump up and down here?
I think so.
You think so? He says we're not.
We'll find out.
Okay.
It's
So, anyway, I won't do that. I'll jump down here.
80%, I'd say.
80% is giving me a bit. I'm looking for 80%. I think I'll. Anyway, here's the thing. I'm asking. Sandra and I, when we were first married, we lived in a town called Galena. Galena is just northeast of Westerville. And now, man, it's really grown up. It's, truly a bedroom community of Columbus. We lived there, started our life together as a married couple. Sandra was working at Riverside Hospital in Columbus and doing this and doing that. He was going to school and everything. And this was obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, it was a day before we had all this cell phone technology, so I had to kind of guess when she'd be home from work. And she could probably tell you that I really tried to make a science of it in some respect. I kind of figured, okay, she's off work here, it takes her this long to get home, and so I should be looking for her at this particular time. And so I would do that. If I happened to be home and Sandra was coming home from work, I'd kind of watch for her. There was this window that was angled just perfectly, so it kind of pointed to the driveway that she would come. So I'd watch for that little blue Dodge Colt turning into the lane. And what I would do was when she came up the drive, I'd stand in front of the window and I'd go like this. Because I always thought that it's important for somebody to know that somebody's watching for her. And I wanted her to know that I was watching for her. And I was waiting for her. And sometimes I even do that today. It's a little more challenging because our schedules are a little bit crazy and everything. But I try to do that when I can. I try to listen to that garage door coming up. And when I hear it going up, if no other noise is going on, I try to make my way to the window and smile at her, wink at her, jump up and down. It's not as big a window, it's a little tougher. But to let her know, I'm glad to see her. You see, I think that Jesus not only wants us to wake up, but he wants you and me to pay attention. Pay attention to him. Pay attention for all the ways that he's coming. And to pay attention to life and faith. So that on that day when he comes and it's the end of the world as we know it, we'll be ready to greet him and enjoy the salvation that he is. And so, my friends, because I love you, I want you to be ready. I want you and I to wake up and to pay attention, and by faithful living, make ourselves ready for the Jesus who has flooded the world with his saving blood comes back and brings us home. Will you pray? Lord God, I thank you with my sisters and brothers, my friends here today, for this glorious life that you have made possible for us in Jesus. Father, we don't want to sleep through it. Sleepwalking does us no good. We want to be wide awake, paying attention, and living this life in faith to the fullest. Lord, help us to do that. May we not become so inoculated to the magnificent that we don't see you in our neighbor, in our family, even in the brokenness of the world. God, help us to wake up, to pay attention. Pray in Jesus' name.